guys, it's Jessica from Peace Love Books, and today I'm here with a recommendation video for some romantic suspense books. I love a good romantic suspense, and what I love most about it is oftentimes the mystery behind the books and trying to figure out who's trying to kill someone or watching our characters on the run together. And so I don't think I've ever made a recommendation video like this before, but I am excited to share with you some of my favorites. But before we get to it, I want to thank the sponsor of this video, which is Blackstone Publishing. I have partnered with Blackstone Publishing to chat about Pinyon, Scorpion, and the Barbershop Detectives. This book is a classic whodunit kind of story, and throughout the book it does follow a detective along the lines of very famous literary detectives in history. This is all about a detective who shows up in this town and meets all these men in a barbershop, and they together solve quite a few mysteries in the town, including a murder, including a stolen item, and it's a lot of fun seeing them try to solve these cases. They are sitting around talking to each other, unraveling the mystery, and we have our main detective who really has a keen eye for mystery and solving. Really enjoyed the atmosphere of this book and how it really felt like the classic whodunit story where they are with a group of people, some are lying, some are telling the truth, some are innocent, some are not, and they really come together to solve these crimes, and there are many throughout. The chapters are super short, so you just fly through this book. The mystery definitely keeps you on your toes. I was kept guessing the whole time. The beginning of this book is really fun because Scorpion was saying how he's a little bored, there's not a lot of mysteries happening, and he really wants something exciting, and then all back to back, all these mysteries start coming up. We have one that spans throughout the entire book. We have a couple more that pop up, and we also do get flashbacks to these mysteries and the backgrounds to them, which I really loved, seeing how these mysteries came about and getting to see those characters in their context before seeing the end result of, oh, well, this person died and this thing happened, and seeing the connections between all the characters. There's a little bit of romance going on with some of the side characters. It's definitely a very quick read where you're trying to get to the end to try to figure out what happened and who committed the crime. Put some fun back into your reading with this classic whodunit story, and order your copy in the link down below. A huge thank you to Blackstone Publishing for sponsoring this video. If you're in the mood for a historical mystery, kind of like Sherlock Holmesy, very atmospheric, definitely check out Pinyon Scorpion and the Barbershop Detectives. Now on to my recommendations. I have a bunch, some old, some new, and one of the ones I want to talk about is one of my absolute favorite romantic suspense books, and that's Whiteout by Adriana Anders. This one I read a few years ago. It ignited my love for survival romantic suspense books. So this one, our heroine literally works in Antarctica. She works in the kitchens at this research facility, and the hero is one of the doctors working at the research center, and he is very just like stoic and grumpy, and everybody's leaving, and the hero though is staying behind, and the heroine is supposed to catch a plane. She gets kind of trapped and realizes people are there to try to steal the thing they are researching. I don't want to spoil what it is, and so the heroine and the hero end up finding each other and having to run away from these bad guys literally across the Antarctic in order to find this next research center, and bad guys are chasing them, and they're falling in love during that time. And I love a cold survival story. I don't know what it is, but I just really love those kind of stories. I'm fascinated by Mount Everest, so I feel like just those extreme survival conditions are so intriguing to me. So I really, really love this book. Highly recommend if you want that kind of survival story. Very much suspense with some romance in it. The next one's a more recent read, and that is Where the Blame Lies by Mia Sheridan. I just read the 2 books in this series. I did like book 1 better than book 2, so I'm just going to talk about book 1, but no, it is a series. Well, just 2 books. And in this one, we get flashbacks between when the heroine was kidnapped when she was in college, and to now when there's a copycat killer out, because the killer that had kidnapped her ended up dying, and so now like it's happening all over again. She was kidnapped. The way she was kidnapped was the same, kept in this like abandoned warehouse. She actually became pregnant and had her entire pregnancy while she was kidnapped and gave birth, and the kidnapper took her baby and she never saw him again. So she has lived, I think it's been like 10 years, and she has always tried to find her son and she never was able to, and a police officer who was brand new on the job, kind of set to protect her when she was found, is assigned to this case now. He's a detective, and he asks her for her help. So they are both trying to track down this copycat killer. Is it the same guy even though he's dead? Is it someone else? And trying to unravel this mystery. And we get the flashbacks of when she's kidnapped all throughout, which I really liked how those were woven together, and they fall in love in the process, and I really, really enjoy this one. I like a good serial killer, who is it, it, they're coming after me, gotta protect each other kind of romance. So definitely very intriguing, and I loved figuring out who did it at the end. Like I said, that's one of my favorite things. It's just the mystery and when an author can really keep you on your toes. So check this one out. I listened to it on audio on Audible and it was really good. So if you did not know, I've been loving small town romances, and the next one I have is a small town romance with a little bit of a mystery. That's why I wanted to include it. This one, the mystery really drives the plot. It's more so romance than suspense, but I'm going to talk about Indigo Rage by Devney Perry. Our heroine is actually the new police chief in town, and she had a one-night stand with someone at a bar that she thought wasn't a local. It turns out he is the son of like the founding family of the town. I don't know if they were the founding family, but they are like the family of the town. They own everything. Everyone looks up to them, and so they both thought they were tourists, so that's why they had their one-night stand, because they don't want to like any attachments or anything. She is in town, and people think that she didn't get her job fairly. Her dad or uncle, I don't remember what it was. They had a lot of sway in town, and so they think that she just got the job because of her connections, and they don't want to take her seriously. But there is a body found on the hero's property, and that is the third suicide in like 10 years, and people are like, it's just a suicide, like we need to move on as a community, forget it, like hush hush very much. And the heroine is like, this is fishy. She spends the rest of the book trying to figure out, is this a suicide? Is it actually something more? The townspeople wanting her to just let it rest, don't bother it, and she is not going to do that. And so definitely more suspensey at the end, because we are getting down to the nitty-gritty of this mystery, but they're falling in love in the process as well. They had so much chemistry when they first hooked up in the beginning, and now they're still falling for each other. She needs to work closely with him because it did happen on his land, and he is from the town. I really enjoyed this one. Check out some small town romances that might have some suspense thrown in. Next is a series I want to recommend that I was reading like 5 or 6 years ago, but I absolutely loved it, and that is the Killer Instinct series by Elle Kennedy. This one is the last book. There's actually 8 books in here, and I think I've read the last 5 because that's like when I got started in on the series, and I would definitely recommend reading them in order because there are some back, even though I said I skipped the first couple books, but throughout them there are some like side plots that all of like other couples that interweave throughout that you get to see fall in love. But it's a group of mercenaries, they take on jobs, and that's really all of the plot I want to tell you because they are more specialized in each of the books. But I was eating up Berkeley's mass market romantic suspense when they were being published. I don't remember when this one was even being published. This was in 2017. So during those years I really love these. I have another series I'm going to talk about, and these guys are just like, I believe they were like former military people that are now their own mercenaries and have their own mercenary group, and they're a lot of fun. I really enjoy these. This one is the culmination kind of because it's someone's daughter that finally gets her story, and I really liked it, so these are fun. Then I have the Lost Splatoon series by Monica McCarthy. These are another series from Berkeley that I was reading quite a few years ago, but they are all seal romances, and so I know people complain about like how there's like so many seals in romantic suspense books, even though like in real life it's very, very hard to become a Navy SEAL, and like there aren't actually a lot of them, but these were a lot of fun. We have really fun stories. What I loved about these two though is the heroines are all very, very interesting, because in this one she is an investigative reporter, in this one she is a marine ecologist, and then this one she was part of like a spy program when she used to live in Russia, and now she has left that behind her. But all the heroines have a really strong point in the plot. I don't love it when the heroine just kind of like is there and like dragged along through this mystery, and she's like, I've never done this before, I don't know what's happening, like save me. No, I love a strong heroine. These have pretty strong heroines, and they definitely help drive the plot, which I really loved. And you gotta love a good Navy SEAL story. So these guys actually disappeared and started their own like Lost Platoon team, so check the series out. It's a lot of fun. I think there's only these 3, but I really enjoyed them. Then we have Private Eye by Katrina Jackson. This one is a lot of fun because our heroine's a cam girl, and something happens where the website she works for, there's people who like to do like their arms deals like in the chat, and so the hero is actually an undercover agent, and I believe her roommate works with him, and that's why they use her, because they know they can trust her. And so he ends up having to work with her, and at one point like putting on a performance with her because they know like the likes of the bad guys who are using these websites, so they know like the kind of women they gravitate towards to like do stuff in their chat, like make these deals. And so he ends up having to work very closely with her. Sparks are definitely flying, and then there's a lot of action that goes down at the end, but I thought it was a lot of fun, very unique. I just really loved our hero and how just like into the heroine he was, and them having to like work work together, especially like for her job. And if you like the kind of cam girl plotline in a romantic suspense, I definitely recommend checking this out. I do like it when the heroine is using like her profession to help the hero, and they have to like work together in order to solve the crime. Definitely also very suspenseful at the end. Then I have The Hunting Ground by Katie Robert. Katie Robert has like a huge backlist, and I remember wanting to read more romantic suspense, more like survival kind of things. Saw this one, downloaded the audio, and I had a really fun time with this one. So it's about two FBI agents, and they actually have a past, and there is a serial killer on the loose in this forest, and they have to team up together to try to find the serial killer. The heroine is actually now a like park ranger, park guide, and the hero is still an FBI agent. She had worked with him. They had a past. It ended, and now they are forced back together to work on this job. They're reuniting, falling back in love with one another, but they also have to try to survive while tracking down this guy who is killing people in this forest. So I had a lot of fun with this one. Definitely very suspenseful as well, because they end up going into the forest together and are trying to find a literal killer, and it's a second chance romance, which I always love. And the next one is a series, and there are two books in here that I've read, and it is Psycho and Unhinged. These are about serial killers, and these count because they have a lot of mystery involved in them as well, involved with their partners. So they are all MM. In the first one, so these are all about a doctor who has adopted these psychopaths in order to harness their desire to kill for good. So he like assigns them people to kill. They're very professional about it. There's like a bunch of them. And the first one, our hero had actually killed the other hero's father. The other hero has been trying to track him down to kill him, even though his father's really bad and he realizes he has some suppressed memories of what had happened. They all come bubbling to the surface when he meets the other hero, and they team up together to try to take down the men other than his father in his past that had wronged him. But it's like a very sweet, wholesome romance too, and the hero, whose dad had been murdered by the other one, he is not really like a killer, so he needs to figure out how to be able to kill someone when he's not a psychopath. And it was really, really good, definitely suspenseful, trying to track down these people that had wronged him. And then the second one, we have our hero falling for a coworker at his job. He is a professor, and the other guy's a professor too. He was kicked out of the FBI because he can see things about people when he touches them, and he saw another FBI agent is a murderer, and so nobody believed him. They thought he was crazy, got kicked out of the FBI, now he's a professor. But the other hero immediately is smitten with him, is like, you're gonna be mine, like we're gonna fall in love. And he's like, no. But they start falling for each other, and they're actually going after the FBI agent that had him like kicked out of the FBI, because he is a serial killer, so they're trying to track him down. So they are serial killer heroes, but they are like tracking down actual bad people and killing them. So it's a lot of fun. Definitely has suspense as well, because you're trying to figure out like how they're going to take down these men, trying to figure out who the bad people are, and it's a lot of fun. And the last one I say for last, because I feel like everyone's read this, but I want to talk about it because it's one book that like still has me reeling. When I finished reading it, I literally could not stop thinking about it for like 2 days straight, and that's Verity by Colleen Hoover. I definitely think this is a romantic suspense book because it's about a couple falling in love, and the heroine is taking over writing for Verity. Verity was in an accident and is not like mentally responsive, and so she is living in her house, and her husband is there, and our heroine takes the job to like continue writing her series that she had started, and it's the heroine and the husband's romance, and she's uncovering things though about this author, and you don't know what's real and what's not, and it's crazy, and there's a romance. And is it like a really romantic romance? No, but there is chemistry between the hero and the heroine, and they are falling for each other, but there's a lot of suspense, and I'm still like, it's more like psychological thriller. It was like, oh my gosh, and there were moments I was like, oh my gosh, this is freaking me out. So highly recommend this one if you haven't gotten to it yet. I think it deserves all the hype it gets. I really enjoyed it, but I am a romance reader, so I love Colleen Hoover, and I love this one. Those are all my romantic suspense recommendations. Let me know down below if you have any other romantic suspense that you love, that you think I would love as well. I would love to hear. And a huge thank you to Blackstone Publishing again for sponsoring this video. Make sure you check out Pinyon Scorpion and the Barbershop Detectives. And that's all I have. As always, thank you so much for watching, and have a good day. Bye.